Hey y'all, it's Troy-Nicole, and today I thought it'd be a fun idea to talk about the things I hate in all my favorite books. So basically what we're going to do is I am going to give one example of something that I totally disliked in my favorite books that I have given 5 stars and talk about why I hate them, because you know, sometimes when you do reviews on books that you give 5 stars, all you do is talk about what you really love, even if there are things you really dislike. So I'm gonna stop talking and we're just gonna get right into it. Okay, so I'm frumpy today. We're just gonna ignore it. I have a list and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 books right now to do for this video. Okay, we're gonna start off with, I would say, like, my favorite series, maybe one of them of all time, and that is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series. Unfortunately, there was something that I just could not get past, which is why I totally understand why so many people vote for John Ambrose to have been her love interest, but I'm still Team Peter. And that is, I could not get past Peter and Jen's relationship. I just could not. It drove me crazy that for 2 whole books, I had to continuously deal with Peter running back to her. I mean, it was understandable in the first book because he was trying to make her jealous and get her back. But then after he was with Laura Jean, quite frankly, her reasoning for wanting Peter and his reasoning for running back just weren't particularly... It just wasn't particularly, like, important to me. I was just like, okay, so basically she's using something that happens in her family to force you back with her. How is that healthy? I'm just like, you know, this is the most unhealthy relationship I've ever read, and it drives me crazy. And then he would hurt Laura Jean because he didn't want to hurt Jen. And I understood why when you get to the end of the second book and what happens, but at the same time I'm just like, no, like, you love Laura Jean, so why is it so hard for you to just be like, listen, Jen has something in her family and ... I get it that you were her, like, first love and that Jen needed you and you were always there for her, but she is toxic and a horrible person. It wasn't even like she was a nice person who you just fell out of love with. She was a horrible fucking person. Like, oh my god, I could not stand it. And it honestly made me dislike Peter so much. I was just like, am I even gonna, like, want you to be with him at the end of this? Like, I can't. And then what kills me even more, what kills me even freaking more is that by the 3rd book, you're just like, so basically, you could have just stayed away from Jen, because it was like the ending of the 2nd book was just done, like, and then that was over. And I was like, so why couldn't that have just been over in the 1st book? I was just like, I guess there just needed to be conflict in the 2nd book, but it drove me crazy. I could not deal with it, and I could just, like, have a field day with how aggravating Jen and Peter's relationship was. Okay, I said I had 6, but I actually have 5. I can't count. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is Losing It / Finding It by Cora Carmack. Okay, I love Losing It, and I love the characters Bliss, and I love Garrick, her love interest in the story. However, I hated her best friend, Kelsey. She was the worst friend in the world. The whole point of Losing It is about a girl named Bliss who is a virgin, and she's feeling some type of way about being one. And so one day she confides in her best friend Kelsey and tells her that she is one. And Kelsey's just like, oh, we're gonna get you fucked today. We're gonna go out, we're gonna go to a club, you're gonna find a sleazy guy, and you're gonna get fucked. Point blank, period. I was just like, what? And I mean, okay. It begins the story because the person she so happens to want to sleep with so happens to be her teacher. However, I was so just like, throughout the book, it's just like obvious that she can't talk to Kelsey because Kelsey doesn't take things like Bliss would want her to, and she really did not want to go to this sleazy bar to pick up some sleazy guy for her first time. And so the reason I put Losing It / Finding It is because Finding It's a novella where you get Kelsey's perspective after they graduate college. But it was just, even finding out why she was the way she was, I just found myself like, okay, like that's sad, and I like you a little bit more, but at the same time, your friend couldn't confide in you for anything. She lied straight to your face multiple times because she knew if she didn't, you'd really try to force her to sleep with some guy she didn't want to sleep with. Like, whose friend does that? Like, that makes no freaking sense. Like, who cares if your friend's a virgin or not? Like, if she wants to be a virgin for the rest of her fucking life, let her be the virgin for the rest of her life. I don't understand. Like, it drove me crazy. And every time Kelsey would come into the picture, I was just like, girl, please get new friends. This girl is not the one. Like, she is such a horrible person. Like, until she gets her shit together, you do not need to be her friend. Okay, so moving on, the next book is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is another book I completely love. But there is there's a couple of things I didn't like about it. But one thing I really didn't like so much about our main character, Kat, was the fact that she was so judgmental to her sister. And you can find me on that. Like, sure, she just wanted to look out for her sister. But a lot of times when Ren just wanted to do, like, even the most basic college stuff, she was just so judgmental about it and felt the type of way about it. Like, granted, Ren wasn't always the greatest sister, but I could understand being a twin and just wanting to separate yourself from that ideal that you're both the same person, especially since they look so much alike. But she was just so judgmental. No matter what Ren wanted to do, it could have been the smallest thing that Ren wanted to do. But at the same time, Ren was also pretty judgmental towards Kat as well. And just their relationship that does get better towards the end is just like kind of toxic to be sisters. And even at the end, it kind of just seemed like it was pushed like, oh, Kat was right, Ren was wrong, don't go to parties. Like, no, you can go to parties, you can go throw back a million drinks, but just be safe. Just be the I don't understand. If you want to go to a bar in college and you want to go get shit faced, fine, get shit faced. Have a designated driver. Have someone come pick you up. My orientation leader for my college gave us all her number my freshman year just in case we ever needed a ride home and we were shit faced drunk. Like, find a way to get home. Like, just find a way home. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I think that's one of my big problems with Fangirl, was that at the end it kind of just made it seem like, oh, you can't party without possibly getting drunk, possibly something happening to you. Like, you can go to parties, you don't have to drink. If you want to drink, drink. If you want to get shit faced, but just make sure the person you're with is 100% going to help you home, that the designated driver that you 100% know won't take a swig. Like, just, there are safe ways to have fun in college, y'all. Please do not take for granted that just because you go out and have fun, that something has to happen to you. Please don't take for granted that if you go out in college, you're a slut or you're a whore bag or you're a horrible person. People go out and have parties and they have fun in college. You just enjoy your youth, okay? Like, that is so annoying. It infuriates me that that was in there. Okay, the next book is my favorite book from when I was in middle school, and that is Two-Way Street by Lauren Barnholt. This was my favorite book back in middle school. I loved this book. And I also reread it. Well, I didn't reread it. I like skimmed through it every so often. But one thing that drove me crazy, not really when I was a preteen, but now drives me crazy, is the fact that Jordan's reasoning for lying to Courtney was super stupid. Like, his reasoning was so dumb and out of pocket. Like, it was just so aggravating. However, Courtney acted like such a brat when she found out the truth. So basically, because this isn't a very popular book, I'll explain the premise. The premise is that Jordan and Courtney were supposed to go on a college road trip to their future college together, but prior to the book start, they break up, and he lies and tells her it's because he met a girl on MySpace. This book is old. And it turns out to be a lie, and that he's hiding something from her that could really, like, ruin her and his family. And he's keeping it from her, and they still have to go on this road trip. When I tell you, both of them are so bratty and stupid. I skimming it, I was just like, oh my gosh, like how did I not realize how dumb this was when I was a preteen? Like, I still read it and I still really like the book itself, but it's just like whenever I think about how bratty Courtney gets at the end when she finds out the truth, as if it doesn't affect him personally, because like it personally affected him. It wasn't like it was just going to ruin her family. It could have ruined his, and it was going to ruin his. And the story ends kind of open-ended, so you don't really know what happens. Like, you know that it's kind of like a happily ever after for them, but at the same time you don't know what happens outside of everything else that's happening with what happens with his and her family. But it's just like she like just threw a tantrum. Like, she threw a tantrum with him, didn't yell at her, anyone in her family who was the cause of all these problems or nothing. She was just so angry with him. And I get it, he was your boyfriend and he lied to you and he hurt you, but at the same time he was hurt and it had to do with him too. And it wasn't as if he just I don't know. I think it just depends on who you are, I guess, because for me, if he would have told me that, I think I would have been more like understanding, since it directly affected him and it wasn't just like he was trying to stop me from being hurt but then hurt me anyway by breaking up with me. It's complicated. If you want to read the book, read it. Just it's so much. Okay, so the final book I'm going to do is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. And one thing I will say that I could not stand in this book was Miles' voice in it. He sounded like a wimpy teenager, or maybe even a preteen, and I could not get past it. Like, it was just such bad writing. Like, when you got his past when he was in high school, I didn't too much mind. It was still cringe, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, they were in high school. It was his first love. Okay, whatever, fine. But you're like old now, like you're a pilot and you're still talking as if you're like 15, and I couldn't get past it. I'm just like, are you like an adult or are you a pubescent teenager? Like, pick one. Colleen Hoover just wrote him so like childish, and I was just like, okay, I understand like reading him in high school and him being childish, but him being childish in his adult years just seemed a little bit much. And it's not like this was a YA book where it would be understandable. Like, you're a grown-ass man and you talk like you're 15 and you just discovered masturbating. Like, I'm not joking. It was so hard to read him talk sometimes. I was just like, who talks like this? You sound so pretentious and childish at the same time, if that's even a thing. I couldn't do it. It was so bad. Just no. But it got dark in here. Is it supposed to rain? It got really dark. Anyway, so yeah, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about things I hate in some of my favorite books. If you want me to do this again, I can. There are definitely plenty of more books I can put on this list, because I like a lot of books and I have a lot of opinions, and they ain't all that good, sis. Like, some of them are just guilty pleasures and I know they're so terrible, but I love them. So if you want to see me do this again, you should comment down below and tell me. And yeah, and if you decide to do this, I don't know if this has ever been done on BookTube. If it has, please tell me. And if it has not and you do it, tell me again. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. And until next time, do what you love, create what you love, and